Garage Gang, tonight's lap isn't just a recap, it's a full-on trailer. The track is stacked with storylines. Shutdown risk at Redline. Tariffs locked for October 1st. Bonds pricing paradise while liquidity vanishes. AI overheating on a $100 billion supercharge. Crypto markets split wide. Bitcoin solid. Ethereum in supply shock. Solana whales bailing. Kraken flexing. Vanguard bending. And yes, Christian's trench plays are back on the board. When the market chops sideways, the trench ignites like a flamethrower. Multiples get made, flames shoot high, and the Garage Gang eats. Smash that like, smash that follow. This isn't locked behind Wall Street desks or code junkies. This is for wrench turners, hustlers, bartenders, car guys who live for torque and volatility. Strap in, let's rip. All right, let's break it down so every wrench turner in the garage gets it. First, the MOVE Index. That's Wall Street's fear gauge for the bond market. When it's high, traders are bracing for chaos in interest rates. When it's low, they're calm. Right now, it's sitting at 75, way too calm. That's like blasting down the freeway at 200 miles an hour with no seatbelt, thinking nothing bad can happen. Next, the RRP. That's the Fed's reverse repo. Think of it like Wall Street's spare gas tank. At one point, it was packed with $2 trillion of extra fuel. Now, it's almost empty. 48 billion left. That's fumes. If the engine sputters, there's no reserve tank to save the ride. Then we've got the TGA, the Treasury General Account. That's the government's checking account at the Fed. It's sitting fat at 781 billion. But here's the problem. If the government shuts down next week, that cash burns fast just to keep the lights on. Once it's gone, the engine stalls. And here's the kicker. October 1st, we could see a double hit. A shutdown choking growth on one side and new tariffs jacking prices on the other. That's stagflation, worst of both worlds. Wall Street, they're acting like it's a Sunday cruise. But the track's slick with oil, and the wreck is right around the bend. Garage playbook. Don't floor it blind. Strap on the nitrous. Hedge with volatility. VIX calls are cheap insurance. If the market spins out, that nitrous bottle launches you past the pileup, while the rest are stuck in the wreckage. Now let's pop the hood on crypto. Bitcoin sitting at 1096. Ethereum at 4020. Solana 204. ADA 79 cents. That's the scoreboard right now. Today, we had $22 billion in Bitcoin and Ethereum options expire. That shook out weak hands. But whales, they bought the dip. ETFs now hold 1.13 million Bitcoin, almost 6% of the total supply, locked up in less than a year. That's insane fuel pressure. Ethereum exchange balances just hit a 9-year low. Institutions are vacuuming ETH off exchanges like it's oxygen, supply shock loading. But not everything's clean. Solana whales dunked 277,000 coins, $54 million, onto exchanges in 3 hours. That's heavy sell pressure. It tells us someone big is rotating, not just stacking. And in the corporate pits, Kraken raised $500 million at a $15 billion valuation. IPO talk is heating. Vanguard, the boomer fortress, is finally giving clients access to Bitcoin ETFs. That's not hype. That's structural. That's allocation. So here's the garage take. Weak hands panic, whales accumulate, institutions plug in. When you see Bitcoin steady, ETH supply vanishing, and Kraken flexing, you know this market isn't just retail noise. It's big money setting the track. The garage take, whales accumulate. Institutions plug in. Retail still second guessing. That's the split that matters. And while crypto is running its own plays, let's pivot to the other pit that's overheating. Artificial intelligence. NVIDIA and OpenAI just signed a $100 billion deal. That isn't just a partnership. That's concentration risk. Tech now makes up 34.5% of the S&P 500. If this engine stalls, the whole market locks up. Compute is oil. NVIDIA and CoreWeave are hoarding every barrel. Smaller AI labs, indie gaming studios, robotics startups, they're starved. No cash, no political muscle, no access. On the TradFi side, these are the names to watch. CoreWeave, public now, ticker CRWV, with monster OpenAI contracts. Lambda Labs, still private, but hiring bankers, IPO window on deck. Cerebras, wafer-scale chips, filed papers, waiting on regulators. Graphcore, speculative, but circling the same track. These names pump as long as AI demand stays redline. But once those valuations max out and the rulebook tightens, the flow doesn't stop, it shifts. That's where decentralized GPU networks step in. Render, BitTensor, Akash, IONET, permissionless compute, borderless horsepower. Doesn't matter if you're a hedge fund or a 5-person garage startup. You plug in, you get access. Think gaming. Big publishers will always cut NVIDIA deals, but indie shops building the next Fortnite or Illuvium, they can't wait in line. They'll chase decentralized compute because it's the only way to stay in the race. Smaller AI projects, same play. Robotics, even bigger. Factories, hospitals, warehouses don't care about the logo on the chip. They care about uptime and cost. And the rules are coming. Export bans, safety licenses, usage restrictions, all inevitable. And when they land, smaller players get crushed under the weight of red tape, forced into the shadows, forced into decentralized networks where no one asks permission. Garage take. There are multiple plays here, and we've already got our eyes on them. CoreWeave, Lambda, Cerebras, Graphcore on the TradFi side, Render, BitTensor, Akash, IONET on the decentralized rails. We're not talking theory. We're already in, and we'll keep you in the loop. Because when the crowded trades choke and the overflow spills into the rails, that's when the garage collects. And we like to just get paid. Macros draining oxygen. Equities are over-concentrated. Crypto is split. Bitcoin strong, alts flat, stables idling. That's the setup. Here's how the garage calls it. First, volatility is mispriced. The VIX is cheap. The MOVE index is asleep. Everyone's betting calm. That's exactly when you size a hedge. Long volatility is the nitrous bottle you keep under the seat. Second, pair trades. Long Bitcoin, short NASDAQ. Why? Because Bitcoin has structural inflows from ETFs. Real supply shock under the hood. NASDAQ's bloated on AI names that are one headline away from puking. Market neutral, but torque on your side. Third, stables. $250 billion in stablecoins, sitting like dry powder on the sidelines. That's fuel. Once ETH BTC ratio flips, that capital won't trickle. It'll slam into alts. When it happens, you don't chase, you ride the ignition. Fourth, decentralized rails. While TradFi is crowding CoreWeave, Lambda, and Cerebras, we're stacking Render, Akash, BitTensor, IONET before the herd. That's asymmetric torque. The kind of play where one catalyst can multiply capital overnight. This isn't about hero trades. It's about positioning. Helmets matter more than horsepower. Keep insurance on. Build asymmetric bets. Stay tanked with dry powder. When the yellow flag waves and the pileup hits, the garage doesn't panic. We accelerate. Last night, Christian dropped zombies. Chill Guy, Ponky, With, and sure enough, they're up today. That's the slow burn, the long plays. But tonight, the trench flicks lanes. First stop, Reno. Neon buzzing, slots clanging, the casino floor alive. The cocktail waitress slides by. 5 at best, the hottest one pushing 50, smelling like smoke and bad road. But you tip her a chip, and your drink shows up quick. That's Solana tonight. NYX SOL Eternal, $5.8 million market cap, 349K liquidity, pumping $7.1 million in daily volume. GRODT SOL, $3.9 million market cap, 183K liquidity, moving 684K in volume. USD1 rare coin, a monster at $175 million market cap, but fin liquidity at 139K, $2.6 million volume. That's the main floor. Chips moving, tables buzzing, but nothing guaranteed. Now you step outside and the vibe changes. Alley dark, a couple OGs crouched over dice, hookers leaning on the wall, money flying hand to hand. That's Base Chain. Blue Fwag BFG, $2.7 million market cap, 158K liquidity, only 19 hours old. BioUSDC, heavy, $20.4 million cap, with nearly $1 million in liquidity. Hot, at 17 hours old. Falcon Finance, FF, $1.6 million cap, 325K liquidity, 14 hours on the tape. This isn't velvet ropes. This is back alley craps. Cash is flowing, but you don't bring your whole stack. You hit it quick, grab your wins, and ghost before the alley clears out. That's Christian's Trench. Reno for the steady tables, back alley dice for the adrenaline, and zombies like Chill Guy, Ponke, and With grinding back for the long haul. That's why the garage eats. We don't just pick one lane, we run them all. Smash that like, smash that follow, and Garage Gang, let it rip. See you Monday. Make sure you check the website, and don't miss this weekend's token teardown. I know we're putting Aster on the lift.